Hey, what's going on, guys? John Lee here, and I just wanted to make a little video about this Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie case. It's kind of a big deal. It's made national news. If you're not familiar with it, I don't know what rock you've been hiding under or living under, but it's a young couple who, and it's amazing to me how this story has unraveled fact by fact, but it was a younger couple, 22, 23-year-old couple. They were engaged. I believe Gabby was from New York, moved down to Florida with Brian and his parents. They lived there together. They bought a transit van, redid it, and they wanted to do this cross-country trip journey. It's like an Instagram, social media, travel thing. We've all seen stuff like that on social media. Yeah, it's cool and all this stuff. So the crazy thing for me is I was watching YouTube one day, of course, and maybe like a lot of you, I like, happening upon these First Amendment audits. I thought that's what this video was, but it was actually a domestic dispute between the two of them in Moab, Utah, I believe. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but so they had a domestic situation. Somebody called the cops. Somebody's witness said they saw Mr. Laundrie hitting his girlfriend, fiance. I have not had a chance to watch the entire clip of the incident in Moab, but from what I did see, it looked like they were separated for the evening. The police found that Gabby Petito to be the aggressor in that incident. They split them up for the night. They're out on the road, which I think is kind of jacked up, but they separated them. And Mr. Laundrie got a hotel for the night. And so pretty much after that is when all hell breaks loose. Nothing seems to make any sense after that. And there's just one clue after another. So after that incident, and that's really where that's really where social media and the news and everybody got wind of the story. I first saw the clip, and I think it was before Gabby was reported missing on 9/11, on September 11th. I'm not exactly sure, but I saw the incident where they had an encounter, a domestic situation encounter with the police in Moab. And so it was shortly after that I started seeing, Gabby Petito is missing. But here's the crazy thing. So let's, bring you up to speed on what happened after that. So they separated them in Moab. They're in Utah. They were going to Teton National Park or forest or whatever. So they were separated. He got a hotel. She went somewhere else. Shortly after that, she came up missing. And then Mr. Laundrie I don't know if he took a plane or if he drove her vehicle back to Florida, back to his parents' house, but he shows up without Gabby. He's there for about 10 days. And then the neighbors all saw him walking the dogs, mowing the grass, going for walks with the family. His parents and him immediately lawyered up. I'm not sure if the lawyer that we've all been hearing about is actually the parents, Brian Laundrie's parents' attorney, a family attorney, or Brian Laundrie's attorney. But this is where we're at. So he returns home. And I was seeing a couple other videos. I mean, this has just been national news. And I just heard that they've spent in that National Park Reserve over $1 million looking for him. And I honestly think that his parents probably said something just to send them in the wrong direction so that they could give their son a head start. I don't know where he thinks he's going to go. You know, you really can run, but you can't hide. But for me, it was like right away, my first impression was, this girl is crazy. Actually, my first impression was, oh wow, what a cute couple, what a, you know, romantic story, what a cool adventure. You know, I mean, that's a hopeless novel right there, you know. It was the documentation of a love story. At least that's what it looked like. And then I see the incident with the domestic situation in Moab, and then it seemed very seriously like... So what was said was both parties have a history of anxiety, and the police... And Gabby Petito, you could see her saying that she had a history with OCD, and they might have been fighting about maybe getting... Who knows what they're really fighting about? Whoa. I just about missed my exit. Boy, that one really snuck up on me. So who really knows what they were fighting about? I feel like if you're fighting about something, that's kind of your own personal business, but they just separated them for the night. But then they found that Gabby was the aggressor in that situation. And so nobody went to jail. No charges, you know, were filed. Nobody wanted anybody in trouble. So it wasn't, you know, a couple weeks later and the girl's missing. And so Grand Teton National Park or something. I mean, it was nothing but a shit show from the time that she supposedly come up missing to the time Mr. Laundrie made his way back to Florida, showed up, and this is where shit gets really weird. He shows up in her vehicle, so it's her van. They've already had an altercation, and the documented domestic situation is really only... It's really only one instance, you know. So now you hear all these people kind of come to light. You got witnesses saying we've seen them here, we saw them there, you know. But who's really to blame? So they found that no charges were to be filed. They split them up in Moab, and the crazy thing is they chalked it up to a mental break, like they were stressed out, they were on the road. You know, they were a little uncomfortable, a little out of their element, and so, you know, people get a little irritated, agitated, a little short of patience when you're traveling, maybe for that length of time or that distance. I certainly know that sort of stuff can happen. But they chalked it up to a mental break. So they're like, you guys just kind of lost your sanity for a little bit and had a little bit of a fight. They said, you know, she was hitting him, he hit her. Looked like he said he just pushed her. And so they found Miss Petito to be the aggressor. And that's really one of the saddest parts of this entire story, is because had one or both of them had been arrested or gone to jail, Gabby's parents would have surely been notified. It would have been a serious incident. The police didn't find that it was that serious when they were out on the road. But at the same time, they were traveling. Do you want to get a couple involved in a domestic court situation in the middle of a town where you don't even live? So there's so many new discoveries to this case and to this disappearance of Gabby Petito. So fast forward a little bit. Brian Laundrie comes home, lawyers up right away, refuses to speak to the police. Now, before Gabby Petito even came up, was reported missing by her parents, Brian Laundrie came home and was home for about 10 days, which is a super long time. He never said anything, and he showed up in Gabby Petito's van. So they left together on a cross-country trip. The fiance comes home without the girl, doesn't say anything to either of his parents. Or maybe he does say something to his parents. This is what we don't know. The parents haven't said anything. There's a lawyer involved immediately after he gets home. It's my understanding that Brian Laundrie's parents went and bought a camper, and they took a little family camping trip for the weekend. Pardon me. And the weekend that they went camping was September 10th, 11th, and 12th. On the 11th is the day that Gabby Petito's mother reported her missing. So, I mean, he had a long head start before even getting close to having the feds or anybody on his tail. But here's the thing. It just amazes me that... So the thing is they both had some issues. Mr. Laundrie said he had... It was reported that they both had a history of anxiety. Ms. Petito had a history of OCD, which I'm not sure of the relevance, but it chalked it up to a mental break. And it just amazes me that nobody saw this coming. And also, nobody considered at all that maybe she just took off. You know, they obviously just got into an argument. My thing is why does... And I saw Geraldo talking on TV about this, saying, you know, in domestic situations, and then he was with that judge on Fox. I'm not a big Fox fan. But they're saying, you know, somebody should have went to jail. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments in the comments below. What's your thoughts? I'm not even sure what the legalities are on there, but I'm pretty sure in a domestic situation where somebody has marks on them, or, you know, somebody maybe should have gone to jail. You can see how this ended up happening. So fast forward a little bit further. But why is it always, anytime there's a relationship issue or domestic situation, the man is always the first suspect? And I'm not saying that men are any more guilty or less guilty than women of domestic violence, but I'm pretty sure the statistics show that it's not really a cut and dry thing. So they come back, they go on a camping trip, really weird, lawyered up, hasn't said a thing to the FBI, to the police, the parents nor Brian Laundrie has said anything to anyone, period. Now Brian Laundrie is missing. The parents say he took his car up to the reserve, big old 25,000 acre reserve. They've had the feds and everybody searching deep and wide. They've had the dive team out there, really wasting time and money. And he's a person of interest. The whole time he was just a person of interest. But for a person of interest, I mean, you had people on the Laundrie parents' lawn when she first came up missing. You had people standing in their yard, they're protesting, they're creating chaos, disturbing the peace. I mean, it was really unbelievable that the majority of the nation and all the reporting that I saw was saying that Mr. Laundrie was a person of interest, but they were really trying to hunt him down like it was some kind, like he was the number one suspect in a homicide before they had even established what had happened to Gabby Petito. And so I just wanted to make that point, that I don't think it's fair to anybody ever. And I think it's a great point that's made here, which is, you know, here in America, the policy and the law is that, you know, you are innocent until proven guilty. So it really bothers me that regardless of how shady Mr. Laundrie or his parents were being, until they had a body and until they had a coroner's determination of cause of death, which I'm not sure that we even have yet, why are they manhunting this guy like he actually murdered this girl before we even knew if she just met some guy online, if she decided maybe they run into some of their followers. They had like over 300,000 followers on their social media. And they were publicly, broadcasting all the places they had been, more than likely all the places they were going to go. So I didn't necessarily think that it was, and this is completely speculation, but maybe she ran off with someone else. Maybe they had a stalker on their social media. Maybe they hunted them down and they killed them and then delivered the van. I've heard that Brian Laundrie took a plane back home and then came back. I mean, there's been so many different stories, but the bottom line is he was treated like a suspect and a criminal from the second Gabby Petito's mom reported her missing. And maybe that's rightfully so, maybe not, but I don't think it is. If you don't have a body and you don't have a crime, so I don't know really why everybody was, pretty much convinced that the man was pretty much the typical historical traditional abuser. But fast forward a little bit to Gabby's missing. Another YouTuber that was traveling saw their van. They pretty much were able to locate the general area from where the van had been spotted previously on the trip. Then they tried to get a hold of Brian Laundrie. They haven't been able to get a hold of him. Won't talk to the parents. It's made national news. The entire country is gone ballistic. They found, they did recover a body that matched the remains of Gabby Petito. And we finally got the news back that it was, in fact, Gabby Petito's remains, but we haven't got the cause of death. Now Brian Laundrie's parents is reporting that he left his keys and his wallet at home, and they haven't seen him for several days. So now he's the suspect in a homicide, which is how he's pretty much been treated the entire time. Nobody has any clue about his side of the story. We don't know if she OD'd. We don't know if she committed suicide. We don't know if he's going to commit suicide. The only thing we know for sure is that there ain't going to be a marriage. So I'm John Lee. If you like videos like these, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure and drop your comments below. Let me know what you think about the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case and whether or not there's any justice left to be served. I'm John Lee. I'm off to the next one.